Step into the ring, it's Monday Night Fire. My rhymes burn hotter than a funeral pyre. I'm the heavyweight champ, you can call me sire. Reviewing raw like a southern rap messiah. Crossing over lines like I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin. Flipping opponents like I'm Randy Orton. Dirty South flow, my words they be costing. Every verse I drop got them head nodding. Spit lyrical punches like a ruthless fighter. Got the crowd hype, I'm the crowd igniter. Breaking down the raw matches, no denier. Dirty style rap, I'm the Monday Night Supplier.
What is up, window lickers? It is I, Joshua Joseph, the voice, here again on another Monday night. I'm here with Grun's friends, your friends, my friends, all the chaos goblins out there running around in the world. And you took the time out to stop and watch this. I thank you. You stopped your chaos for 60 minutes before Raw kicks off. And we appreciate that. Speaking of Chaos Goblins and Blue-Eyed Villains, here are my co-hosts, my favorite friends on the In Your House network, where we come and we talk about Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw. But before we do that, we talk about what happened with everybody through last week, because we're friends. We want to know, and we want you guys to be in on it. So, guys, what have you been up to?
Well, I went to a Christian rock concert last Thursday night featuring Skillet as the headliner, and it was exactly what you would expect from a Christian rock concert.
Yep.
And it does seem like that the speakers decided that their time was more important than the only reason why, or the main reason why people bought tickets, and that was Skillet. Because they talked about technical issues, and there were. John and Jen's mics did not work for for almost a third of the first song. It's like but really?
Aren't all Heaven's Angels, aren't they just acoustic? I don't think any of them have.
I just attribute those microphone issues to God's will.
Probably.
That could have been. That could have been done.
That is what they say, probably. But I think God was sitting back thinking, oh, we got Skillet. They've been bringing people to these concerts, whether they believe in God or not.
Hey, Skillet's good, though. I've seen him live a couple times.
Regardless of religious affiliation, Skillet is a quality band live.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, they've talked numerous times how they're glad that they have listeners that maybe aren't Christian, but they like their music, so they know at least their message, the positivity that they're trying to spread is getting out there.
Oh yeah,
that's one of the things I appreciate about Skillet too. In looking at concerts, I've been to quite a few like Christian like rock bands. Some of them get preachy, and when they get too preachy, it's just like, all right, guys, like. Truly, I get it. I get that you're Christian and you're trying to spread this message through your music and all that fun stuff. I get it. Not all of your listeners want to be converted at a concert.
Exactly.
No. So like make a mention of it. Absolutely. It's inspired by this, all ups to the big guy or whatever you want to say. You can do a little like 1 minute gimmick, but if you like do 2 songs and you're like, everybody pray, it's like, oh God. Way to ruin the flow of your concert.
Yeah, exactly.
Way to go. Well, Kevin, that brings us to you. So what devil worshiping concerts did you go to this week?
Well, I went to the Sanctuary of the Devil. No, I was at Sanctuary Fight Club yesterday. Had a match with Shane Saber. Good match. Didn't come out on the winning end, but it was a pleasure. It's a pleasure to wrestle the man. He's an incredible worker. Other than that, like just a lot of Monster Hunter, man. I fucking love this game. And I started playing because I got it for free off of PlayStation Plus, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection, which is all of the old games from the Super Nintendo, the NES, the Sega Genesis, and the arcade and the Game Boy. It's like 14 games.
That's insane.
So I'm slowly playing through them because the platinum is just to beat all 14 games. So I'm going to beat all 14 games. I'm really dreading the NES one because it is legendarily difficult.
It is. It is. It is. I hated the swimming stages.
It's always the water level. If you make it past the water level, you are home free. If you do
golden.
not make it past the water level, you starting over.
Yeah, it's not a fun time. But
No.
yeah, I celebrated my twins' 14th birthday, man. We took them out Friday night to a pretty fancy restaurant in our town. Had a beautiful New York strip and some of the best firecracker shrimp that I've had in a long time. And it was amazing. I was like hoping nobody else liked them, but everybody else did. So, but you know, you move on, you eat that nice New York strip. But then Saturday morning, one of my twins decided that she wanted her septum pierced. So I took her down there and got her first piercing, and she took it like a champ. She's rocking that. So we went to my mom's after that too. And I said, you know, Mom, look at this. Something you wouldn't let me get when I was a kid. And look what I'm doing.
Oh boy.
And look how cool she looks. I could have been that kid.
Let me guess. She was perfectly fine with her granddaughter getting it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
No. Okay.
She said it looked nice though. And you know, it wasn't on me. So you know how, well, you don't know how, but once you get kids, trust me, when you take your kids over to your parents who are their grandparents, you're going to look at your parents and go, who the fuck are you? Because that did not exist when I was a kid. So who are you? But you know, you get to see the love that they get with their grandparents. So it all evens out in the end. But we're here. We are ready to talk some Monday Night Raw. We got the chat chief jumping in. TMT insert coin feature gives you endless lives.
I don't know if that's only in the arcade games for that though, because in the arcade games you can just keep pressing start and you get infinite lives. Like the arcade games you're gonna beat them. But the NES one, I don't know if that works, which is the problem.
Damn,
gotta get past that fucking water level. And what I intend fully to save scrub it though, because you can save any place in the game like an instant save. I'm going to save before that stupid vine part that you have to precision go through. And then the second I beat it, save right after.
That'd be the smartest move. Yeah. I wish I had a DeLorean. I'd go back and beat that game. Just like what you're describing.
Cowabunga Collection, man. It's on every system.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, check that out. It's definitely Kevin approved. So go and check that out. Grun, we know you went out and you spent the big bucks on the Dead Man edition. You got all the bells and whistles. Give everybody a quick synapse of how 2K25 has been for you.
So far it's been fun. I've been mainly doing the My Rise mode. And you definitely are going to have to go play through it a few times to unlock everything that is locked in the My Rise mode. And you actually get to create two wrestlers in one My Rise playthrough. And I want to be careful with what I say, because you know what? You make some really important decisions that affect the story in My Rise mode. And you don't know how that's going to affect your wrestlers.
I love that in the game. I love when you can take alternate routes and maybe not see the game as your friend's seen it, and then you can talk about it. To me, those features are cool.
The choose your own adventure kind of features.
Yeah,
exactly.
I will say that you can start either as male or female, but the second wrestler will be the opposite gender. The opposite sex.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool.
Makes sense.
I like that.
I like that.
Yeah, it's the My Rise mode is very very heavily features the new intergender matches thing.
Beautiful.
Good.
I think it's a little much how much they feature it, but I get it at the same time because it's the first time they've done it ever.
Do a whole story around it. Why not?
Yeah, makes sense.
I can look past it.
Yeah.
All right, we got K9 jumping in here. He's saying, "Hello, hosts. Last night's
Hello.
AEW show was pretty good. I
I
heard
about that.
Yeah, I heard there was.
I didn't hear good things.
I heard.
I didn't hear good things about the main event. That's the key.
That is
Yeah.
okay. You know what? That I heard not so good things about the main event. I heard Tony Storm and Mariah May tore it up as if they were old school ECW, which okay, fair, but at the same time, it's your main event.
Yeah.
And it has to go well. It does not have to steal the show because sometimes that's hard to do.
I think, and especially if I'm looking at the card as a booker, I'm not sure. In that scenario, to me, you have Mariah May and Tony Storm in a blow-off feud. You know it's going to burn the house down. Like one way or another, they're going to burn the house down. Why put the world title last just because it's the world title? I've never subscribed to that. If it feels like the most important thing that you have, then yes, you should put it last. And it does, the top title does hold that prestige. But if it isn't the top thing that you have, the top feud, the thing that you know is going to burn the house down right at the end to send them home happy, you need to stick that landing. Because the problem is if you have 11 good matches on a card and then the 12th one is dog shit and it's the last match, that's what people are going to remember. It's the same with any individual match. If the finish sucks, but the other 20 minutes were the best thing ever, they're going to remember the finish. That's it. And that's the problem. So I would have swapped where Tony Storm and the world title was, because even on paper, you knew Christian was going to go in there and you knew Christian was going to cash in the whatever the fuck and then just get submitted and just get bulldog choked by Jon Moxley. So you know that's a downer ending. Why not give it where you can have a big, and now we're talking promotion, a big the end for the Hollywood ending, and then you stop cameras. Like it's made for that moment.
Yeah.
Probably the worst part about that is that the whole idea was not to build any story. It was, hey Christian, we gave you this contract that you could cash in, kind of like a Money in the Bank briefcase, but we don't know what to do with it. We've lost all desire for it. We're gonna make you cash in and fail. We don't care.
We don't want Edge to eat a submission again, so we're just gonna have you do it.
No, instead we're gonna make him look as old as he is.
And I think this does potentially further more things but it's not going to be between Moxley. It's going to be between Edge and Christian.
Sure.
Moxley's going to be off doing whatever, probably with Swerve because he just won the #1 contendership. And if they bulldog choke out Swerve the same way they've been doing to everyone else, they're going to have a riot on their hands.
Yeah. Well, they had Prince Nana. He ended up stopping Mox before he got backstage last night. That's what I caught on that. But at the end of the day, until Tony decides that storylines matter, AEW is just going to be where they're at. And until they figure that out.
When they run stories, they tend to be okay. At least okay. But the problem is they don't keep them. They just in 2 weeks, they're like, all right, story's done. That's too many short-term stories and not enough. They try to say that like all of this journey is the story, and I don't disagree, but you also need the stories to build their long-term story. It's not just like, oh, this guy's going through whatever. It's tough to keep track of those, and it's tough to get invested.
There needs to be significant events in the story, because like you could probably argue that the Bloodline storyline over the 4 years, there were moments where it may have dulled a little bit, but those dull moments made for mega moments. The moments that the small moments where Sami Zayn throughout that story was maybe on the fence of whether he should be with the Bloodline anymore or not, led up to an intense interaction with Roman Reigns that led to Jey Uso defending Sami Zayn on Raw, which and then made the Sami Zayn turn on the Bloodline angle so much bigger.
It did. It really did.
You need those.
We got Nick chiming in. LFG, fellas, you are correct, Nick. That's what we're doing. This fucking chat chief. God damn it.
The time for that has unfortunately passed.
Yeah.
I don't think it can revitalize this at this point. If they would have been at the beginning, I think it might have been interesting when all the talk was happening and all the murmurs. At minimum, to give it a little bit of spice. But it's long since meandered since then.
Yeah,
so
that one's fizzled out.
Think so.
They should have struck when the iron was hot, and they didn't. And we got Nick chiming in. He's letting Grun know he's, just out there. He's sorry for your loss, Grun, and which we all are. Which brings us to the Monday Night Talk.
Oh,
yeah, Grun, your hero. Jeez,
did you film you burning your John Cena merch? Like all the other children online.
Unfortunately, I'm not those dumbass children that got their mommy and daddy to buy it for them. I spent my own money. I'm like,
you're calling children dumbasses because their parents are buying them the stuff. So the Grun, we're moving on to WWE talk. We're done out of your little era. We're going directly into what we were discussing at the end of last week, and which I know you two are interested in this subject because we're all fans of the Sky, who is the main subject, and we have, Chat Chiefs also said Vince tags in. You know what, God. Chat Chief?
At this point, you know what? Screw it. Put it in the Death Rider angle. Who cares?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's
hilarious.
We got the boss chiming in. What's up, House?
What up, God?
He said the kids are dumb. Yep, he definitely said that. That is what he said.
Tony Khan gets a new partner. His new partner is Vince McMahon. That's what's going to happen. Fuck.
Yeah, it could happen.
That is going to be crazy.
Get ready for it. So, but we're going to talk about some Drew McIntyre. And I know last week we had a jam-packed episode where we were trying to get a lot of information in, and this one got pushed off to the end because we can. And I think this is something that we can sink our teeth into, and it is directly around Drew McIntyre. So the question I want to pose to everybody is, does Drew McIntyre matter in a storyline anymore? Is it where are we at with Drew McIntyre? What are you guys seeing with his storylines? I mean, again, Elimination Chamber, he is back in his own way. So we're going back to that obviously we've never left Drew McIntyre getting in his own way. So I posed that question. I posed it to you guys, and I did post it to one of our other podcasters on the network, Paragon himself, and he sent in something. So I'm going to leave it up to Kevin. Do we want to hear Paragon's first, or do we want to hear his last?
I think first it'll set the tone.
I like where your head's at. So we are going to kick it off. So fans, here we go. We got Paragon, the world's most dangerous podcaster, jumping in with his thoughts.
So when asked the question if Drew McIntyre is bringing relevancy to any storyline, yes. I don't think relevancy is his issue. I think right now the issue running into is star power. Before Drew was going into his history of failing the accomplishments and his goals and things like that, Drew was on this path of like reaching maybe a certain star power, at least when it comes to like match quality and who people are going to be facing. Whereas right now, Drew is a threat, which makes him relevant. And Drew is still Drew McIntyre, which makes him relevant. But now we still have in the back of our minds of, is Drew now putting people over? Is Drew now the guy we use to make people look like this and make them look like that? Because yes, he is a threat still, but do we believe he can actually win the big one? I mean, like right now, look at his stuff that he has going on with Damian Priest. Right now, it looks like it's going to be Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre, which, ironically enough, we're getting for the second year in a row at WrestleMania, if that's the case, because we did have it via cash-in. So now it's the storyline of, you screwed me once, you screwed me a second time, now I'm about to, be in that ass. I think if you have Drew win, his relevancy starts to go into a place of him being a credible threat, and it could potentially lead to his star power if you have him get an important and big win that matters. Because that's what Drew needs right now. He needs wins that matter. He can't just keep having these cannon fodder wins. But I think if he gets some wins that matter, potentially Priest being the way to get that way, we'll be having a different conversation. But if he does end up losing to Priest, is going to continue this trend of, it's not that he's not relevant, but his star is starting to dim. He's becoming a legit threat, but do we believe that he's enough of a threat that he can actually pull it off?
All right, so we heard what Paragon had to say. Which one of you want to dive into this one first?
I'll go first because I think mine's going to build off of Paragon's a lot.
Gotcha.
Because I agree with Paragon, and I'm just going to expound pretty much. I'm going to expound and talk further. I think Drew brings relevancy to a storyline even beyond star power. Because I do agree he's accrued too many losses to feel like a threat right now as far as booking is. But as far as looking at him as a worker, he can heat up any storyline he's in and make you care to a little bit extent, no matter what. Because his promo game has leaps and bounds went forward in the last year and a half. And if a man can talk himself into a story, he will continue to stay relevant no matter how many losses he eats. So it's kind of twofold. Yes, he's going to stay relevant, but the problem is, where are we going to see him? Like, where do we actually see his threat level? Because right now it's like cooling off, where we don't think if he's in a title picture, I don't think he's going to win.
No,
I just don't. I think the more of the story is he keeps getting in his own way. He keeps getting distracted by other things, and that barrels off into something else so that he can go on a path of self-discovery that he never actually goes down because he doesn't think he's the problem.
Yeah.
So I feel like this doesn't change until he turns face. I just don't. Because then he's going to stop getting in his own way once he starts to say, oh, maybe it's me. Or maybe I have to change something, because that's the story that they seem to be long burn telling. Kind of like,
you're right there.
We talked a little AEW earlier. I don't think it's the same story, of course, but I think it's adjacent and honestly probably going to be better written. But a lot of people who are AEW fans love this story. And that was the long-term storytelling of Hangman Page. Being down on his luck, being a drunkard, and then rising back up in the ranks to win the world title. I think that's kind of what we're going to get with Drew, but it's going to be for better reasons than one loss hurt his soul. It's going to be the continued losses over and over and over a course of at this point going on 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, really. But here, let me ask you this question, Kevin, because you and Paragon both said it. He needs to start accumulating wins that matter over opponents that make a difference in our eyes as fans. So if you were, let's say Drew goes on his self-discovery tour, he figures out that he was his issue, like we talked about. Who would you say would be his first big one for you as a fan? This is purely for your entertainment. Who would you put in for his first opponent to get that first major win in your eyes?
So we're assuming that if he's on the path of self-discovery, he's a face now, correct?
Yes.
So that I'm okay.
Yes.
This is exactly who I would want, not just as a fan, but actually as business, because of the way that his character is going, is Kevin Owens.
Oh,
I would want it to be Kevin Owens, because Kevin Owens has been calling out truths. Kevin Owens walks out there and says, no, you're a phony. You're a big fat phony. I want him to go out there and call Drew that, except Drew isn't buying it anymore because he's starting to rise up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think they can have a nice dynamic of that. Also, just both of those guys are such good workers.
Yeah.
The match itself is going to be a banger no matter what else.
Oh yeah, I agree 100% on that one. That would be a great first kickoff to us discovering Drew as a face, and seeing what he
Owens
can do.
Owens is about the same position that Drew is, except Owens feels like more of a threat because they've built something around the pile driver specifically. So he busts that out. Like if he starts setting up a pile driver, people go, "Oh my God, they're going to write someone else off."
I like
someone
that.
better come out for the save. So Kevin and him have the same kind of star power right now, I think, or at least kind of close. Except Kevin has a thing and Drew kind of doesn't, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's something for us to latch onto and say, oh, there's future stuff here. Whereas Drew, you're like, well, I don't know what's going to happen here, but I know he's not going to win.
Yeah. I mean, that's a very fair observation that you're giving us. And I can agree with a lot of that. And I can agree with a lot of what Paragon was saying. Grun, let's get your thoughts on Drew McIntyre and where he's at on your radar. So go ahead, Grun.
Man, I'm gonna say that he is relevant to the stories, but that is really to what Paragon and Kevin were saying, because he makes himself relevant to the story, because he finds a way to talk himself into a story and then get people excited, get people invested in it. I've been saying that I think we are going, in the next year or two, we're going to see Drew McIntyre back in the world title picture. But the next time we see him, he's going to be that legitimate threat that Paragon was talking about. Right now, yeah, you can say he's not really a threat to the world title, but we're seeing it. We're seeing that something is brewing, something is growing in Drew that doesn't make him the next world champion now, but will be the world champion in soon down the line, next year or two.
I think year or two is a good assumption.
Yeah.
And he'll keep having relevant storylines, I think, and he'll keep himself in a spotlight, so to speak. It's just whether we believe it or not that he's actually going to pull it off.
Well, and that's what I think I need. I need them to put him in a situation where it's almost like a layup for him, to where we can buy into it. We can, we as the fans can get behind what we were behind there for a moment. And it just seemed like he did get injured, didn't he? And he was out for like maybe a month.
Oh yeah, when his head got split open by the toolbox, I think he was out for a month.
Yes.
Yep. Oh,
and that could have been more. They just wrote it into the story to keep, trying to do the kayfabe or what have you. But he was gone after that momentum he built. And to me, that was like, I would have kept going with Drew after Hell in a Cell. Even if he was injured, you could run the promo packages and things like that and still build interest around him. But I can understand where they're going with him in a sense, because he does play that we're waiting. Now it's almost like people are waiting for him to, like you said, Kevin, realize that he is the one getting in his way in all these different situations. It's not that his skill has kept him out of the opportunities, or his ability on the mic as recently has kept him away from those. It's been his decisions that he's made at those times when he's had the chance to actually overcome, which, if that's what they're telling us and that's how they're, building him out, the face turn is going to be epic. It's going to be awesome. And it's going to be something that a lot of people get behind him, because I don't think and I know we're all probably in the same wavelength of this, but the title run he did have during the shutdown era, there was no meat to that bone.
And there was no way to get meat to that bone.
Exactly.
That bone was scraps during all of that.
Yeah.
In which you applaud him for sticking around and being that piece of the puzzle that needed to fit at the time.
Oh yeah.
But it's almost like, okay, so when are you guys going to give him back something for being that piece for, and I really think we'll see it. And even though Nick said at the end of it, fuck your question, Josh, I do see what he's saying here. And Grun, I can agree with you. The 1 to 2 years out, we could see Drew holding the title. And Chat Chief saying Drew is a good gatekeeper.
He is, but I feel he can be so much more as well. So if he's got to be a gatekeeper role, because Dolph was the gatekeeper when he was in WWE, he was the gatekeeper to the mid card. If Drew is the gatekeeper to the upper echelon into the title pictures for 6 to 8 more months, because he keeps getting in his own way, I think that works, and I think that's a decent role for him. So I agree. I just don't want him to stay there. I think that's my big thing.
Well, I think you're right there. 6 to 8 more months of this, and then that will put us into that first year. We could definitely start seeing the tides change there and going into more of a face Drew McIntyre. Any last words on this one, guys?
No, I think I got that all out.
Yeah. We'll definitely retouch back on this.
And thank you to Paragon for sending us his
yes,
his take
Paragon.
too.
Yeah, that was awesome. Totally enjoy anytime a fellow podcaster outside of our group on Monday wants to step in and say something. We'll whip you up something real quick and put you on here. But then that brings us to my co-host. Grun, pick a number between 1 and 10.
7.
You hit it right on the head, man. I'm
Okay.
gonna tell you, 7 was going on in my head. So Grun, you're up.
That's perfect because I wanted my question to be last anyway. Because it's a fun one.
Look how it worked.
All right. My question is going to be around the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Last week, Lyra Valkyria defeated Ivy Nile. Now, I'm sure Ivy Nile is going to find some way to say, "Oh, she deserves another rematch," or whatever. And I looked at the WrestleMania card. Right now, there are only 5 matches booked for each night, or theorize. Right. Let me theorize right now. 5 matches for each night. 1 or 2 of them are absolutely not happening because someone overlaps in 2 of them. but
different nights.
Yeah. Well, actually, it theorized that this person wrestles twice in one night.
Oh, probably not.
I mean, it's Grok, it's AI, so it's like it doesn't. It only knows.
It doesn't understand logic.
It doesn't understand pro wrestling logic, but, which is very different. But but last year there were 7 matches on each night. So in theory, we could have 4 more matches. I wonder, is Lyra Valkyria actually going to have the opportunity to defend her Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania? And who or in what type of match does she defend it in?
Ooh. Okay. So generally they do a couple matches that just get a ton of people on the card. I don't know what title they're going to do this with, whether it be a U.S. title, Intercontinental title for either men, women. We can assume the Intercontinental scramble for the men's. True. Why not do an Intercontinental scramble for the women too? Because at that point, like if you want to differentiate it, you could make one a ladder match where they hang it up and the other one not. And cool. But that gets a lot of women onto the card. That gets them the experience in front of all those fans. That gets them, more importantly, it gets them a payday. As a worker, like get your payday. But I think that might be the best way to go because you have featured matches for the world titles. You need some multi-mans, I think, because that kind of gets the pace going. It looks like we're going to get one of those out of the tag division, I think, for SmackDown. I'm predicting because there's a lot of turmoil going on with that. So I'm suspecting like I think it'd be dope if they did TLC fucking 4 or 5 or whatever number they're on with all the tag
I'm all
teams.
about that. I'm all about
I knew
that.
you would be, boys.
Hell yeah.
But I actually suspect they'll end up in some kind of stipulation match for all the tag teams. I just don't know. I don't know how much is going to overlap or what their plan is or anything along those lines. Pre-show is actually decent too. I think pre-show is a good one. I don't know if Roxanne and Bayley will find their way onto the Mania card. Honestly, if they do, I think the triple threat is the right call. Where you have Lyra defend, or even a fatal 4-way if you want to slam someone else in there. Because then you don't have to have Lyra get pinned to lose it if you want to put it on someone like Roxanne.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my prediction. I just don't know. Man, the Mania card, just thinking about it, like it's a lot of singles matches. So they're going to need some multis. And they want their singles matches to have time. I would imagine Mania will be about 4 hours each night. That's my guess. Instead of the 8 hours we got in one day. I just don't know how they run it. I just don't know how they run it.
No, that's a fair point, because right now it's almost like we're almost there, but we're still far enough out that they haven't lined up everything yet. So, in the next couple of weeks, I assume we'll definitely have a more laid out landscape for WrestleMania. Now, I like what Chat Chief is saying here. And then all of a sudden Kevin jumped in and he said, we could put another person in this and make it a fatal 4-way. And I really think, because here we've been talking on a lot of the In Your House shows, a lot of the predictions we're making for matches are multi-person matches. Like if you gave the IYH head control, I think every match would be at least a triple threat.
That's because all the world title matches, like those got to be the singles matches that are featured to me, or like the big, like high name feuds. But like everything on the mid card, like just get him in there. Yeah, just get him in there. Get him a WrestleMania payday. Get him going.
Yeah, exactly. It's WrestleMania. We want to see them all. We don't care what you're doing. I mean, hell, back in the day, they had a hardcore match where so many people entered and they just chased each other through the arena.
And golf carts and shit. It's all over the place.
Exactly. So you got to see them, at least, even if it was for just a moment. It's that WrestleMania moment. It's that
the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, Memorial Battle Royal ended up replacing that for a little, the hardcore match, so that everyone could get in and get their payday.
That's true. That's true. It did. So yeah, I'm thinking that I think Lyra does get a spot on WrestleMania.
I would provide an alternative potentially too.
Yeah.
Stand and Deliver. You had Chelsea Green just get pinned by Sol Ruca. That could set up a Stand and Deliver match for the U.S. women's title at Stand and Deliver. So instead of having them defend these titles on a crowded WrestleMania card where they're going to get 10 minutes max to go out there and do stuff, have them defend it in their 20-minute epic matches on Stand and Deliver instead.
I like that. I think that's a great pivot. Oh, here we go. Becky's surprise return for Lyra's belt. Chat Chief is.
I don't hate it.
No, I don't hate it, but she really seems to be enjoying this motherhood route.
I also think if they're going to bring her back, it's going to be after Mania at this point, because it's
maybe
we're late in the game.
Not too about in the last 10 years or so, there was a WrestleMania return that there was no plans, no sign that this was going to happen. The Hardy Boys returned when the New Day was hosting WrestleMania. The Hardy, it was being in this lead up to their return, the Hardy or the New Day, they were teasing that it was them being added to this tag team title match, and it was the Hardys. I think you can. I think it's definitely possible that they can do this, but at the same time, like Becky, she's been busy filming, doing TV shows, movies, whatever. But at the same time, like I think she is still more capable of going than Seth. I think Seth, I don't think it's outrageous to think that he takes a big back seat in the next couple of years, because he's really like destroyed his body in his time in WWE.
He has.
Okay.
And those things catch up to people, especially the ones that spend a lot of time on the indie scene, because, and this is someone coming from the indie scene and watching a lot of people in that scene, a lot of people think, oh, I've got to do something spectacular. Oh, I've got to do all the things so that I can prove my worth. But that comes at a price, because you don't have the protective mats like WWE. You don't have the protections in place. You're slamming yourself on a concrete over and over and over and over and over again, doing these wild stunt show matches. And he comes from an ROH era where they did that. So his body can't be in good health right now. I feel it's a fallacy to think it is. Like, it might be feeling better than it was, like if he had a nice workout regimen and all that stuff, but it's man, it's a cold breeze and a shot to the back away from him being gone for a long time. And I can see them planning around that. I can see them planning around that evidently in booking decisions too.
Yeah.
So
It would make sense.
They got a lot of people that can easily, with a good build, can take that spot and fill it so Seth can take as much time off as he needs to get himself healthy.
And I think that's an interesting prospect to have them switch off parenting essentially.
Yeah.
And that's up to them, obviously.
No,
like, I have nothing in the I have no horse in that race. Other than, hopefully the child's living her best life. But if they can pull that off where Seth is gone, but Becky is there, and then like Becky is gone to go back to being mother, and then Seth is there, like I think that's an interesting dynamic to keep them fresh because you never know when they're going to come back or when they're going to leave.
And then they can be like, when Seth does come back, they got a babysitter for the night. He is finally back.
Yeah.
That's just
whatever they want to do with that.
Exactly. But it does bring me to this point. Now I understand why Seth Rollins hates CM Punk so much, because Seth Rollins sees CM Punk's body is identical to Seth Rollins. So
also he sees him being pawpaw to all these NXT graduates.
Yeah.
There we go.
Jealous?
So that that brings us 18 minutes outside of Raw going live on Netflix, and that gives us plenty of time for the Chaos Goblin himself to give us something he's been teasing, saying that is an excellent topic. So Kevin, take it away and let us know what you're thinking.
I never said it was excellent, but here we go. All right, so I saw Jey Uso talk about this online, and I saw this like maybe today or yesterday, I don't remember when, and I'm like, oh, this would be an interesting like query to ask the guys. So this isn't even truly, it's like it's wrestling adjacent. Has nothing to do with booking, doesn't really have anything to do with in-ring. Jey Uso online said, wow, I need something spectacular for my entrance. I need someone big to play me out. And then he name dropped Kendrick, Drake, and Cardi B. So my question for the class, I'm not going to leave it with those three because that's whatever. Who would you have? Who is the perfect person to play Jey Uso out for his WrestleMania entrance and his main event assumed win? Who would you do it with? Who would be a good person? Give it some thought.
That is a tough one, because what genre do you go with?
My assumption would probably be rap.
Yeah.
Okay, but then you got new metal. Why couldn't new metal do it?
Why couldn't Limp Bizkit play him to the ring? They could keep rolling.
They've been there before.
Imagine
they pull the vet card.
Fred going old school. Fred Durst out there yeeting with Jey Uso.
Oh, that'd be
I would go wild.
That would just be.
That is good. That is.
Man, that's a good question, Kevin. Well,
it's the chat chief suggesting Gorilla. I think it's what
Glorilla. Yeah, that's a good one. Glorilla would be a good one. Very relevant in this day and age. And I think they do a good job with it. So, and it's also stays out of the stupid fucking beef shit, which is nice.
Yeah, it does.
Well, but WWE doesn't stray away from those. So
here's an interesting thing that I know of because I've been out to Vegas. There is a casino out there that from spring to summer, they have a residency for legendary hip hop artists.
Okay.
So, because I know you could, the time I was there, they were getting ready that Snoop was going to do a couple weeks out there. And then Dr. Dre was going to follow him doing DJing. So that brings me to, why not? Let's mix it up with an older hip hop artist. And we're in Vegas. Why not have Cypress Hill come out?
Okay.
They're close enough out there. Cypress Hill can still rock a mic. I seen them it was 3 years ago, I believe they were at Riot Fest. And I I would like, because they got that vibe, they got the laid back, they got the. I like Cypress Hill. That's what I'm gonna say. That's who I want. Cypress Hill.
I don't hate that, and that gives me a good idea because Cypress Hill has more than one person.
Yes, they do.
And I think the image of a bunch of the band or rappers as a group or anything yeeting together, I think would be cool.
Yeah.
Why not Wu-Tang Clan? They're still touring.
Damn.
Why not
a stage big enough for the Wu-Tang Clan?
Have you seen the Mania stage? They got a ramp big enough for the fucking Wu-Tang Clan.
You're right. Never mind. And my second Riot Fest, I did see Wu-Tang Clan. So they can still go. And I was a happy boy. I went back to my 13-year-old feelings and I was like throwing up the woo. And, I felt like I was there, man. I like that. Wu-Tang Clan. Yeah. I'm changing mine too.
I think another cool one would be Run the Jewels. I think that would be a really cool one to have out there.
Now, okay. Oh my God, Chat Chief, get out of town.
I see. I mean,
they would do it in a heartbeat, though. I
they
promise.
Would do
Absolutely,
they'd come out there in their JCW gear and promoting, like they'd have a belt and everything.
I would love it,
and they would. And I promise you, they would also kill it.
Oh, they would too.
Look
what they did with the oddities.
I
they made the oddities popular.
Those guys, they are huge pro wrestling fans. That they started their own promotion for fun.
Yeah,
and they're investing in it now. JCW is touring the country again.
It's actually becoming
an actual functional touring promotion nationally. I got a couple friends who are on that promotion.
Oh, yeah. And nothing against them because it was a fun promotion when they were doing the joking with it. But now that they're taking it serious, it becomes another force where people can go and develop and become something and get their name out there. So I love JCW. Doesn't Ray wrestle for them?
Ray did a couple matches for them.
She's done a couple for them. Yeah,
she's not been brought on the tour yet for like multiple destinations, but she's worked for him a couple times. A couple females I know have worked from Detroit on some of the matches.
Then
I actually know who you guys know the cocaine gimmick.
Cocaine, yeah.
Cocaine, yeah. I worked with him out in Wisconsin. I know the guy.
Oh my God. Dope. You know the actual cocaine.
I know the guy under the mask.
But
he just got brought onto their tour, I think maybe permanently based on what I know. So yeah.
From our chat chief, from yeet to whoop whoop. Whoop. I love
honestly,
it.
The cross section of that would be amazing.
No, it would be.
I'd pop so hard to see ICP come out and start yeeting. Because they'd start yeeting Fagos with them, just
exactly, just chucking them at people. I've been to an ICP show. You better watch out for a 2-liter because it's coming.
You better protect your head.
Grun, have you picked a person yet?
Damn. Yeah, I've settled on like I think there have been a lot of other great options. I think this is a good option. I think this would definitely be a very cool moment. He's one of the top traveling country rappers out there today, if not the number one right now. Jelly Roll. We already know he's a big wrestling fan. It would be fun. Would it be hard for him to be going down the steps with Jay? Sure, because he's a larger human being. But at the same time, like it would be very fun compared to the other ideas who I had. One who's arguably top artist right now, but can also be controversial and might take away from Jey Uso's moment. Whereas Jelly Roll, I think he's a big enough name to add, but not too big that he's going to take away and doesn't have as much controversy surrounding him.
That Jago merch is a great idea, though.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt you, Grun.
Yeah,
but
I do agree with you, Grun, and you bring up a good point that I didn't think about. Is you want someone who's going to accent Jey Uso, not overshadow, which is why I would say someone like Kendrick or Drake. Like the second they go out there, like now it's their show because they're they're the hot shit right now, you know, yelling at each other over records. But if you had someone like you can look deeper into the reservoir too, where like they have a long-standing relationship with Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg's not the worst person to play him to the ring.
No.
You could also, I'd never want to see Lil Wayne play him to the ring again. I mostly like Lil Wayne's music, but man, that was a debacle.
Yeah. Let's just not have him.
Let's
do
just
things
not.
like that.
You could do someone like an Ice-T or an Ice Cube. I think that would be interesting.
Dude, Body Count come out and
Body
playing
Count
Jay
comes
Uso out there. Oh,
Chachi's out of
God,
his
no.
mind. He's out of his mind now.
I don't think that's going to be a possibility. Chachi.
Kanye is not even close to a possibility.
Yeah, I don't think
out
they're
of your
going to.
I promise you, of all the possibilities there are out there, Kanye is the least.
God. If the choice is Kanye West or Ronnie Radke, I think Ronnie Radke
would win somehow.
Yeah, he would definitely win, hands down. But you know
you're in a wrong position when Ronnie Radke has the high ground.
Yes.
well, and here's the thing: Kanye would be really good if he would just stick to the music, bringing him out. But that's not going to be the point. And I feel the same with Ronnie too. I love I love the music Falling in Reverse does. It's fantastic. But at some point in time, some of these guys don't know when to go. Maybe I don't need to comment. I could set this one out. They've heard
that thought has never crossed his mind.
None. Neither one of those guys.
No.
Neither one of them.
So
Def
with Ronnie, I'll say I think he would do everything in his power to try, but I think the problem is that he's already been very outspoken with his opinions, with his feelings, and with his way of thinking that people are not going to help themselves but react to Ronnie and forget that Jey Uso's there.
That's the same thing with Kanye too. Even if they were to do him, they would just remember, you know, the swastika merch that he tried to sell instead.
Yeah. Well, he did sell some. I mean,
I'm sure he did. I'm unfortunately sure he did.
Ari Shafir said, well, you know, I looked at it and then I was like, that's $20. That's a pretty good deal. I mean, you could but that's Ari Shafir. If you know who he is, you know he's pretty wild.
Yeah, he's saying that for reactions, not to actually do it.
You know he is. He is.
Yeah.
We got our dear friend and longtime fan of the show, Ken, chiming in. Been watching the shows, just a late check-in. Having too much fun. I love it. Thank you, Ken. We appreciate you chiming in. You are our chat chief here on Mondays. You know, Fry, you just gotta accept it. It's just how it is. But all right, Grun, do you have a final pick for who you're gonna go with?
Final pick is Jelly Roll. I've convinced myself Jelly Roll is
that's a good pick. I think that would work.
And you don't need him up there with Jay. Yeah. Jay can walk his ass down to where Jelly Roll is.
Yep,
they can meet at the ring. And
my final pick is going to be Wu-Tang Clan because
I'm
to
with
see all those guys up there.
I'm with you. I am so with you. Ghostface Killer up there, Yeaton. Oh man, let's do it. Let's do it. Oh,
Ghostface Killer would get so into that shit. Wayne Newton, Vegas, baby. Fuck it.
Why don't you just get what's his name? Freddie Valley over there, who they just put the music over him.
I don't even know if Wayne Newton is Wayne Newton anymore after all the plastic surgeries.
Oh, damn. Dude, that dude has been plastic since day 2 with him.
It's only gotten worse. I saw when I was in Vegas, 2 years ago now. I looked at the poster and it said Wayne Newton. I looked at the face and I went, really?
Yeah, that's not Wayne. You can't fool me.
Damn. You can't fool me, Cyborg, trying to pose as Wayne Newton.
I'm on to you, AI.
I'm on to you.
I love it. All right. I love the question, Kevin. That was real fun. That got us in there. And I'm with you. Wu-Tang Clan for life. Let's get Blue Man Group. Chat Chief, what are you doing? You're just going down.
In fairness, the Blue Man Group might go pretty meme hard, and I'm here for that.
You know what?
Yeah.
Okay.
That could be enjoyable.
He's got blue gear.
Yes, he does.
You know what? I'm gonna have to take that back. Yes, Chat Chief, I'm sorry.
Look, that would be a spectacle. Boy, at the same time,
all right. If we're gonna do that, all right, we'll do a final word because we got to show them out too, because we got to make sure they're ready for Raw.
Yeah,
if we're gonna do Cirque du Soleil, I want it with everybody from fucking Vegas. I want a goddamn circus all over that place.
So you want
while
all
Jay
of the
is
Cirque du
eating around,
Soleil?
just all of it, just all around the arena. They're coming down like Shawn Michaels from the rafters, like all of that shit. I want all of them. I want all of the acts. I want the Blue Man Group out there. I want Cirque du Soleil. I want Vegas. I want Vegas out there in every act they can bring.
Do we know where it's going to be? Which building is it going to be in?
Shit, I don't know. Is it the Raiders Stadium?
I think it's the Raiders Stadium.
Okay, if it's the Raiders Stadium, you could start at Paris. And you could do actually what you're saying, because they could just walk that whole thing, do like a video montage before Jay comes. Oh, that
it's slap though. Dude, Vegas experience.
Ooh, that would be wicked. But we are here 4 minutes outside of Netflix showing us Monday Night Raw, the next Monday Night Raw that we'll be talking about. So you need to go and watch it. So you need to also go and watch my friends. So let's hear from my friends where you can find them. Kevin Calloway, why don't you tell them where you create all that chaos of yours?
So I don't have a lot of bookings until the end of March, so I'll cover those in another show. But you can always follow me at Calloway Kevin on Instagram or Kevin Calloway on Facebook. Once we get schedules down, Dear Pro Wrestling Podcast, there's still an archive of a lot of things to listen to and a lot of things to go from that on IYH, either on iTunes or on Spotify. And as we record more episodes and as I get them edited, we'll get more up there. But until then, I have a couple bookings at the end of the month. That'll be Frontline Pro, New Edge Pro around here. And then I'll be at Emerge. So you never know what happens.
Beautiful. I love it. All right. So fans, if you see it on the screen, you can see where you can find Kevin Calloway. Go check him out. Go see what he's all about. He's a fun guy. I enjoy a lot of the stuff he puts out.
Hey, I'm not a mushroom.
You and Chat Chief, you guys share the same wavelength sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah, look what he says on this one. That's the last one we're showing of his, but David Blaine. That's who we want. All right, Grun. So let them know where they can catch those blue eyes of villainous.
You can catch me at twitch.tv/Grunmeister, where I stream every Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, telling you all about SmackDown. And just to confirm, it is the Allegiant Stadium. The home of the Raiders is the home of WrestleMania 41.
Awesome.
There you go.
They could definitely do something like that, and it would be fun, and it would be Vegas, baby. So outside of that, you can catch me, Joshua Joseph, the voice, here every Monday night at 7 p.m. where me, Kevin Calloway, and the Grunmeister, we talk to you about Monday Night Raw. So go check that out, because we are legit 2 minutes away from that. Outside of that, you can catch me on Fridays where me and House We Go Extreme. It's the ECW Watch Along, brought to you by Window Liquors and In Your House. On that one, we talk ECW. We go back, we watch ECW. We just had Dirty Dick Flair on, and let me tell you, it was epic. I have so many clips I still have to post. It was a great episode. We really found out a lot about him and his love for ECW, Sabu, all that. Check them out tomorrow night on Sabu Speaks on Twitch. Go out there, find it, and see what Sabu's talking about. And the last place to find me is on a Sunday house party where me and the In Your House crew, who's ever available, we talk wrestling. Usually that past week of wrestling, we talk all the things that have happened, all the things that got us excited and watching, and we hope they get you going. So if you're out there and you want to be a part of something, come join In Your House. All we do is wrestling here. You can come be a part of it and talk things. You've seen what we did with the Chat Chief. He was in here. He was saying some rando stuff. We put it up there and we had a good discussion and some fun with it. So be a part of it. Come be with us and see what In Your House can do for your wrestling viewing pleasure. Until next time, we will see you later.
Shadows creep in the spotlight's glow. Curtain call, now it's time to throw. Chains on my neck, but I'm losing the brain. Ropes of smoke, twist dissolving my pain. End of the show, let the chaos unfold. Heart blacker than the night, ice cold. Crowd screaming, but